Welcome to NBNR, the authority on unfiltered opinions and authentic player insight for Nebraska athletics. Connect with us on Twitter, Instagram, and at NBNRpodcast.com.
We have the saying, no block, no rock.
You know, we just really love Utter. He's a junkyard dog.
Kenny Bell ran up to me. He's like, you know what you just did?
You get mad when you going to get in the portal and go to another podcast?
You know, usually dumbbells are in pairs. They had 5 dumbbells.
Dang on it, Muhammad.
GBR. No Block, No Rock, Season 4, Episode 6, coming at you live from the Nebraska Brewing Company tap room, La Vista, Nebraska, 68128. Fellas, we're going to run through the beers that we are drinking tonight real quick. Myself, I am drinking a Pickle Fight, and I also have a cannoli over here.
Yes, you do.
I'm holding it so everyone can see it.
Yes.
Mike,
Now-
where's this from?
Yeah, Mike,
So,
tell them.
We have a special thing tonight where we are having cannolis with our beers straight from Norma Noli's. Founder is Norm Holthe, a friend of mine, and he gifted us with some cannolis. So we're going to talk about the beers we're drinking and the cannolis that we're eating, and we will do a one-bite test together. So super excited for that. But let's walk into our beers real quick. Then we'll talk about our cannolis and get into it.
Pickle
So,
Fight.
Pickle Fight. And what kind of cannoli do you got?
Reese's.
He's got a Reese's cannoli. I didn't even know those existed.
Neither did I.
And that is incredible. Like and like the presentation, I took pictures of these things. Looks awesome.
Food Barn.
Okay, I am drinking the EOS Hefeweizen. It's the best beer on tap at Nebraska Brewing Company, and I have a banana split cannoli. It is going to be really good.
So I had Kyle get my beer, which was a mistake. I got punked.
What did he get you?
Well, it was supposed to be a Pilsner, and Kyle alleges that it is a Pilsner with a splash of Pickle Fight. In my opinion, it is a Pickle Fight, which is not a bad thing. Still a great beer. Still a great beer. But I do have a Reese's cannoli as well.
Okay.
Kyle, what do you over there?
The Taco Beza with the banana split cannoli from Normanoli. I love that.
Normanoli.
I love that.
That is
Cannoli,
a
Normanoli.
10 out of 10. Fantastic name. You can't beat it. You literally cannot beat that name.
Okay, are we all
right,
taking a bite at the same time? What are we doing?
Yes,
I feel like
absolutely.
we got
Get
it.
in here.
Okay, here we go.
Oh
1,
my gosh, guys.
2, 3.
Hold on. I didn't even get
Michael!
yet. All right.
Oh, big time Normanoli.
Oh, Norm!
Norm, fantastic job.
Wow.
This is incredible.
Okay. Gotta chew. I'm not going in the mic like this all dirty. Hold on.
Holy shit.
Norm.
Wow.
Norm. Hats off.
Yeah. I had the banana split. I literally feels like I'm eating a banana split right now. And it's a cannoli.
This is incredible. All the viewers watching are just like, okay, are they gonna like talk sports?
Dude,
No,
shut
we're actually just eating on this episode.
No, man. Okay, so Mike, just real quick. Mike's got Normanoli's business card. Like, how can they contact this guy?
Yeah, if you're looking for cannolis at an upcoming event, or maybe you just want some for a dinner or something, contact Norm at Normanoli's. You can find him on Facebook. It's Norm Anolis, NORMANOLIS, or you can email them at normanolis.cannoli@gmail.com. So
It's just the best name.
yeah,
Kyle still, I mean, I took
my
my
God.
one bite,
I about spit up half a cannoli right there.
Okay, do we need to
Oh.
pause or can we go?
No, it's fantastic.
Jeez, you
Keep it
guys
moving.
just
Keep
shoving
it
it.
pushing, boys.
Hey, guys, Nebraska, they grinded out a 28-14 victory over Louisiana Tech. Was not the prettiest thing in the world, but like I said after the game, I'm like, along with Husker Nation, at this point in time, have zero right to be picky about how they rack up dubs or how they add an extra 1 on the left side of that WL column. I'm taking it. I'm basking in its glory, just like I am with every other dub, no matter how ugly or pretty it is.
well, I was listening to Jared live with Ravi after the game, and you said almost the exact same thing, word for word. And what I think is remember when we talked about the teams look at the schedule and they look at Nebraska and they say dub. So anytime we get one, I don't care what the score is. I don't care who the competition is. We've lost to Georgia Southern. We've lost to these teams, Troy and all these other teams. A dub And a win is a win is a win is a win. So I don't care.
So it's funny. I know I talked to you guys during the game. I actually watched from a bar in Denver, Cap City, and it's a Husker bar. And the only thing I could think about, and this is not to, denigrate Louisiana Tech. They played well. They did. Huskers came out on top, which is great. But the only thought in my head was, if the Huskers end up losing this game, I was going to go for a hike. I was going to hike a mountain. And when I got to the peak, I was going to jump off.
Right.
And I was really happy that I did not have to do that. I like you guys said, a win's a win. I don't care who we play. I don't care how beautiful or how ugly the game is. A win's a win.
And look, we can talk about the quarterback competition. There isn't one, right, guys? Quarterback competition.
I
don't know how if you ask Kyle, I mean, I guess which way are you leaning? Like,
you got to roll with Heinrich Harburg.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all. Why do we need to make this so complicated?
So I don't know if this was in our group chat or another one that I was in, but I don't know that Harburg will start against Michigan because
insane. If that doesn't happen, it's insane. But go on.
The conversation that I had, whether it was with you guys or somebody else, was that Harburg is, pretty low risk for a medium reward. Like Harburg can win you games. We've seen that the last 2 weeks. But Jeff Sims is high risk and with a pretty high ceiling. However, it's high risk. So I think if we go into this game and we truly want to beat Michigan, Jeff Sims might have to be the guy. If we want to, try and, keep things competitive, Harburg is obviously the smarter move.
Go, guys. Come on.
I mean,
come on.
The conversation was, the difference was Jeff Sims played against 2 Power 5 opponents, and Heinrich Harburg played against 2 Group of 5 opponents. Okay, so that's fine. But what I'll tell you this is, what you got out of the guy that played the 2 Power 5 opponents. We don't know what we're going to get out of Heinrich Harburg playing Power 5 opponents, one of which is number 2 in the nation right now.
Sure.
So until you know what that looks like, you've got a guy that's won 2 games with 1 turnover, and let's see what he does. There's no way. You guys know how I stand on this. I cannot with a straight face tell you that the best chance to win is Jeff Sims, because I know that if you turn the ball over 6 times, if we turn the ball over 3 times a game against Louisiana Tech and Northern Illinois, we might not win those games.
When it came to this debate, even I was still kind of like, okay, Sims is probably the guy because he gives you a better chance to win.
You said that after the game.
Which game?
Definitely after Northern Illinois.
After Northern Illinois, because I was still kind of like up in the air about it. I don't know. Like Jeff Sims might. No. Sorry. And it has nothing to do with Harburg being from Kearney. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Like people have said this, like, well, some people feel, they have it's a feel good story because he's from Kearney. That has not once entered my mind. When he's playing and taking snaps, I have not for one second. Sorry, I'm getting a little amped up here.
What'd you say?
I have not for 1 second. Shut up. I have not for 1 second said he's from Kearney. He needs to play. No, has nothing to do with him being from Kearney at all.
I don't give a shit if my quarterback's from Juneau, Alaska. Can you play the game? Like, I don't care where you're from.
Right.
I'm going to try to walk both sides. I do think Heinrich Harburg should start if he's healthy. He didn't finish the game. That is one thing that's a little concerning. We come out of the rain delay, an hour rain delay, and then Chuba comes in. But I want to try to walk both sides just so we can have a conversation. What does Heinrich, besides the turnover issue, from a passing standpoint, what does Heinrich do differently than Jeff Sims can do?
This isn't. Sorry, go on.
Look, if you look at the 2 games, the only thing that Jeff Sims attributed was his legs and turnovers. The only thing that Heinrich Harburg has really attributed is his legs and no turnovers.
Yeah,
I'm taking the latter 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So I agree with that, but one thing that I've noticed that Harburg does a little bit differently, and this is not a pro. I hate his throwing motion.
A little sidearm action.
I hate it.
I get it.
I feel like it's like the common thing right now is one, arm angles have been around for a long time.
Sure.
Matt Stafford's been doing it long before Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
But I would say that Patrick Mahomes has made that cool. Like right now,
it's sexy now.
Yeah, it's sexy. Everybody wants to try to do these different arm angles. I would say Heinrich Haarberg does an okay job at that. But if we go back in time to last year, is that the things that Whipple was working on with him on the whole, like, because remember former head coach Scott,
Please pause.
There it is.
he was talking about need to improve their stride. Got to improve their stride. All that stuff. So I think maybe that's part of it. And maybe this rule staff is just like, hey, let it fly, man. Like throw it the way that you're comfortable with doing it. And I will say against Northern Illinois, he made the throw, that sidearm throw to Fedoni, that if he didn't drop his arm down, it would have been batted down or picked.
Yeah.
So I think there's a place to use it. But with that being said, there also you need to have a natural throwing over the shoulder throw as well.
Quick side note: was that Fedoni's third straight game scoring?
Yeah, 3 in a row, 3 touchdowns, 3 games.
Good for him. I don't know any Nebraska fan that wasn't rooting for this kid to get like out there and actually performing. So
Yeah.
good for
Well,
him.
it only behooves you if you're a fan.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. But here's the thing, too, is it seems like Haarberg and Fedoni have a little something, whereas with Sims, it was, where are the tight ends?
Yep.
Where is Billy?
Against-
Billy Kemp and Fedoni have only arrived since Haarberg's been on the field, so I don't know if that's got a lot to do with it or what.
Against Minnesota, we only had one tight end target? Is that correct?
That was Borkacher's one-handed catch.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then we also threw one to Heinrich Haarberg.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
helpful.
Tight end,
Yeah.
Heinrich Haarberg.
Yeah.
So we'll call it 1.5, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing, too, about Sims and Haarberg, you look at this offense, okay? Who are your deep threats? Tommy Hill. Jesus Christ.
Who did you listen to the press conference today?
No, what?
So
What happened?
Satterfield today said that Tommy Hill is officially moving more towards the offense, that he is getting worked in, and they want to find other ways to get him the ball because he
Cool.
is such a good athlete.
Look, I have no doubt that he's a good athlete, and I'm sure he practices very well, but holy shit, every time he's on the field,
You know what he's going
and
to do.
I get that he gets overthrown, but dude, and then he fumbled the kick. Look, yeah, it's just every time Tommy Hill's on the field, I'm like, what is something good going to happen? I just don't have the faith in it. I've never seen something good happen with Tommy Hill on the field. I'm sorry.
It's not on tape. And I guess nothing good has happened on tape. And not to mention, when he's on tape, they know what he's doing.
Right.
He's going deep.
Am I crazy to say that? Is there something Tommy Hill can do that Malachi can't?
That's where I was going to get with that too.
Right.
And I've been arguing for this for the last 3 weeks now, is tell me why a true freshman can't have 5 to 10 set plays and master those 5 to 10 set plays and then utilize them in the game. Like Malachi, he had a good block. He sealed the edge. He's blocking better. And maybe he's not an efficient route runner right now, but anybody can get on the field and run a go route.
Dude,
Kyle, you could run a go route right now.
Not great, but I could do it.
I could run it. You could run it. You're not going to catch the ball.
I'm not
You're
going to
probably not going to outrun whoever's covering.
Tommy
you.
Hill hasn't either. So, and here's the thing too, guys, people are going to be like, well, if you put Malachi out there, you know what he's going to do. You put Tommy Hill out there, you know what he's going to do. It's the same thing.
Yeah, and so here's also the conversation is that you've got 2 quarterbacks that have not successfully completed one deep ball. You had the one to Thomas Fedoni, but that was a 10-yard pass, and then he ran it in for 25 yards.
You forgot about
Yeah.
Osborne.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
sorry.
Don't even talk to me.
I could have completed that.
Yeah.
Well, I think where I was going with that is like your only deep threat is Tommy Hill. Holy shnikes. And so the type of offense you want to run anyway is probably best suited for a guy like Haarberg instead of Sims, where like Sims is not a better passer than Sims is not a better passer than Haarberg. I mean, I just don't.
You haven't seen it.
Well,
What am I
on
supposed
par.
to think? What am I supposed to think? I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen bullets and tight windows by Heinrich Haarberg that I've been impressed with, and I'm like, that's what you need, and he doesn't have 6 turnovers.
Like, there's been throws that Haarberg's made where I'm like, does Sims make that throw? I don't think so.
He throws to the left side of the field. So
Right, there's a whole
probably not.
My question, and maybe I'm looking at this under a microscope and diving too far. I don't think Sims is necessarily a bad passer. I think it is his decision making. that makes him a bad passer.
And you can't have a bad decision maker back there.
Exactly. And I think their passing skills are pretty similar, but I think Harburg's decision making is not necessarily leagues beyond, but like certainly better.
Okay. I will say in both games, Harburg has made throws that should have been intercepted that were not.
Sure.
That I would say were intercepted when James was the quarterback.
Yeah.
Because especially Northern Illinois. I mean, he threw one directly to the linebacker, and we saw Jeff Sims do that. He threw one directly to the linebacker, and he dropped it. And then he had one bad throw.
The La Tech defensive back went like this.
Yeah.
And just, yes.
There were a couple dropped snaps, but it was picked up with urgency.
Yes.
You know, but again, like I've heard some people talk about that. They're not on the stat sheet. They're not right now. They're not. In 2 games from now, when we're in Big Ten play, if they're on the stat sheet, then the conversation becomes different. But at this time, those are not on the box scores. They didn't happen.
Right? They're concerning, but not, like the world's on fire.
Like you can't completely just ignore it, but you can also be like, well, they didn't make the play. So it's like,
yeah,
sorry. Like,
do you want me to count that as a turnover? It wasn't a turnover.
I'm not going to.
I just feel like there's a team that's coming into town on Saturday that
Nebraska.
if you, they're already in town. If you make a throw like that against a team like Michigan, it's going to get ugly.
Yeah. And it's just, look, when you watch Harburg or Sims, it just seems like Harburg has better command of what's going on.
But do you think that they changed the offense for Harburg? Because we didn't see all that speed option and stuff with Jeff Sims in there.
I think they probably wanted to, but the ball never got snapped cleanly.
Yeah.
So, like, how are we supposed to know? I don't know. Just the type of offense you want to run is not going to be dramatically different between Sims and Harburg. They have the same skill set.
Mm-hmm. Below average passing and above average running.
Yep. Yes. And even with the running, Harburg runs better than Sims does.
High and tight.
High and tight.
Yeah.
He's going 100 miles an hour. He's lowering his shoulder. You can argue that's probably bad in the long run, but
I don't care.
Sorry. Like they both look like linebackers. So just run them like they are.
Yep.
This is what they do best. In 2023, this is what your quarterbacks do best. So just do it. And I know they're probably going to get injured, but this is football. Like, what are you supposed to do? Make them throw 40 times a game? Then we'll be fucking complaining about that.
Right.
So run them. This is what they do best.
Yeah.
Yep.
Play to your strengths.
And look,
yes.
And look, in the Big Ten, over 300 yards on the ground are going to win you a lot of games. That's not going to happen against Michigan. It's not going to happen against Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have that sort of priority on the run game, and that is, I was listening to like the pregame, like Big Ten show prior to Louisiana Tech, and they're like, yeah, Nebraska's running 68% of the time. Like, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Run the damn ball.
Jared's been beating that drum for the last.
Listen, let's talk about Anthony Grant real quick. If Anthony Grant gets injured, we are fucked.
Yeah. No, we're good.
No, we're not. No, stop.
You know why?
Stop. I know what you're gonna say, and I hate you already.
Press conference.
I hate you already.
Joshua Fleeks.
I hate you.
Joshua Fleeks is now has been moved to running back. So you're telling me
So let Mike go on.
that Joshua Fleeks is a better option at running back than Quentin Ives
And Mr. Minnesota.
and Mr. Minnesota.
You guys can chew on that one.
That is a little questionable to me. Why?
Again, if Anthony Grant gets injured, God help us.
I think the conversation is, who are the adults? You've got Anthony Grant. He's an adult. He's 24 years
Joshua
old.
Fleeks is 32.
Joshua Fleeks is an adult.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Are you twins?
We're both out of shape. We both eat cannolis.
Yeah, we both eat
before
cannolis.
practice.
From Norman Ollie's.
Norman Ollie's.
Hey, Josh Fleeks. I wasn't allowed at practice either at first because I was overweight.
Sorry, Kyle. Go on.
No, that was pretty much it.
Justin dropped in the chat. I do think Fleeks could fit the role Ramir Johnson filled better than Johnson or Ives. Maybe as that third down pass catching back. But people think it's a walk in the park to go play running back in the Big Ten. You need to know all the pass protections. And with this option style offense, that's not a cakewalk. We even saw in the game that there was a miscommunication and they went the opposite way. When Jeff Sims came in for one play. miscommunication. It happened also in the middle of the game with Harburg as well. Where the guy went the wrong way.
Yep.
So how are you about to bring a guy that was on the outside who didn't even play into the backfield and to make the right moves and the right calls?
Yeah.
I was hoping it was no like Osborne mess up where it's a little bit of a misdirection and we just bomb one down the field. And it was just terrible. It looked like he thought that it had to have been a handoff because he just is lost when he takes that snap.
This team cannot waste plays.
Nope.
They cannot turn
they're
the
precious.
ball. Well, their margin for error is so freaking small, dude.
Especially going into this week. I mean, what are Nebraska fans hanging their hat on right now? The defense.
Yep.
Yeah.
We are 23rd in the nation. Fantastic. That is a really, really good
Talk
team.
about the rush D.
Rush D currently first. Don't get too excited about that. You do have Michigan up this weekend.
Well, it's FBS, first in the FBS.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Give
them their roses.
But anyone want to take any guess what Michigan's defense is ranked right now?
I have no idea.
I'm a 50 something.
Third.
Oh, yeah.
Third,
that's
third
lovely.
overall.
Oh,
Sure, third overall.
Yeah.
They've played a light schedule too.
Especially going into this week, this is a time where this team cannot afford to waste plays.
Yeah.
You cannot afford it. And again, that brings us back to, in a roundabout way, Harburg probably is the safer option to start this game. I understand Sims is that high risk, high reward guy. Like he could get you these big plays, but what we've seen out of him is mostly the high risk part and not a whole lot of high reward.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, they didn't score any touchdowns with him in the game.
Yeah.
Like only a botched trick play.
And his
That's
73-yard run.
And calling it
That's
botched is a nice
Yeah.
way to say it.
But Heinrich Harburg also had 2 giant runs and one got called back for some BS holding. So,
He would have had close to 200 rushing yards
yes.
if that first one hadn't been called back.
Well, it's just like, gosh, some of the tic-tacky flags on those long runs were just
It's just like I think the wide receivers did their job. They just held on for a little too long. So it like the moment a defensive back like tries to pull away from it,
yeah.
it just looks worse.
But when you're
Like
10 yards down the field already,
No, I'm not going to say it was a good call. I don't think it was a good call.
Neither.
The Whitehouse
Neither
did.
one.
Well, hold on, fellas.
Get it, King.
Hold on. The second run, there were 2 holds that they could have called. There were 2. He ran right in between 2 receivers and 2 DBs, and both of them were trying to get away from that receiver, and they're trying to run away, and their bodies are like contorted, trying to get to close that alley that he ran through.
Hell yeah.
Is it the
So-
Anthony Grant one you're talking about or the Heinrich Harburg?
Heinrich Harburg.
Yeah.
His touchdown, the one that actually counted?
No.
Okay.
First one.
No,
The
no.
First
okay.
one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Here's my thing. It's a ticky-tack call. You know where you're at. You're in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's an FBS school versus it's a Power 5 school versus a G5 school. There's, just
Yeah, I mean So the running game, yes, you're right. I have been beating that drum. I think we all have.
Yeah.
Anthony Grant gets going in the third quarter. The thing that irks me about Satterfield, and yeah, I'm already talking shit on the coordinator. I get it. La Tech's game plan, and it's just I feel like Satterfield did not commit to the run early enough, and just I get it. Coming out of halftime, that's when you want to make your adjustments, and that's the mark of good coaching. But it's just like in the first quarter, they're blitzing heavily. The very first play is like a 7-yard stack, and it's like, dude, they're going to do this. Like, I don't know. I just feel like Satterfield should know that the strength of this team is running the ball with quarterbacks that can't throw well, and I just feel like he just beats around the bush at first, and then it's like, okay, I guess we'll run. Well, no, they should have just done that at first, and then you wouldn't have a sense of urgency like this. So I think he just gets cute sometimes when he doesn't need to, and overcomplicates things. Just keep it simple, baby.
Yep.
Run it. Anthony Grant is your best runner. Don't get him hurt, please.
I mean, and part of that too is like, and to your point, Jared, like I think my process of thinking would be like, all right, we know that we're going to need Grant in the third and fourth quarter. So let's try to keep it easy on him. But then you've got your 2 other running backs that if you want to get reps in, just start sending them through the gauntlet. Just start going. Like the cute stuff, like you said, just doesn't. We know that we are bigger and stronger than these guys.
That's what I'm saying. In the third quarter, they went to 22 personnel, got 2 tight ends on the field. you ran right through them on that drive. You just keep doing that, but you're not doing it all the time. So it's just like, why are you getting all cute, man?
So
Keep it simple.
not to jump ahead, because we do have a great two guests coming on.
Are they
that
waiting?
we're going to talk
Not
about
yet.
this.
No, we got about 8 minutes.
But, Jared, I want you to put your OC hat on here. Like, obviously with La Tech, we could easily see what was working and maybe what was not. I was just looking at the stats. Overall, Michigan, I believe, ranked 3rd in passing D and 12th in rushing D. Is that maybe something like, or actually I had the reverse. Sorry, 3rd in rushing D and 12th in passing. Is that an offense that maybe you consider passing more against? Do we have the ability to pass
No,
against
we
the
do not.
D?
We don't have the ability to pass against Millard South.
But you're going up against, one of the best rushing defenses in the nation.
Sure.
Do
do
you
part.
sprinkle it in a little bit more? Do you kind of make that a little bit more even? Or do you still kind of go full nose into that rushing game?
That's where coaching comes in. I'm just telling you.
I'm asking Jared, put his OC hat on.
Identity.
How do you mix this up?
Identity.
Rule said, this is going to be our identity. Like, if it's going for 2-3 yards,
Stick
this
with
is
it.
what we do.
Yep.
And so let's have an identity. Let's hang our head on something. Your quarterbacks are not very good at throwing the ball. Anthony Grant's pretty good when he's not fumbling, and Heinrich Harburg seems to be a good runner. So,
And he makes people miss too.
again, don't overcomplicate. Stick to your strengths. Don't try to fit the square peg in the round hole.
My question then becomes, does the offense become predictable enough that
probably.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's what you're going to see on Saturday.
That's why the thing that you do well, you have to do it well.
Do you guys
I
remember
agree.
when Army took Michigan down to the wire?
Why are you asking me this?
Hey,
I'm just saying.
come on,
do
baby.
you remember when Nebraska took Michigan down to the wire?
Okay, I'm just saying. They had an identity. They knew they were going to be running option and power football. Stick to your identity. Yep. We know it's hard to prepare for. This option attack is not easy to prepare for.
And I will say, Harburg, when running the option, looked really good.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree on
Guys,
that.
do you guys not recognize what's going on here? Why do I always get shit?
Yeah.
We need to run option more. Well, no shit.
Shut the fuck up about Munkin.
No, why am I
I-
the idiot? Why am I the idiot? You guys are saying run option. I'm like,
I said it after. What did I say after week one?
I said it's been working and we have an identity doing it. I did not say
option.
burn everything down to the ground and run option football only.
I think
Burn
after week one, or maybe after the Colorado game, I think it was actually after Minnesota, where I said, let's run the option. Like it works. Like, if we're not going to be able to throw the ball, let's run the fucking option.
It has worked so far.
Sure.
I'm interested to see what's going to happen, though, when you play against teams with better athletes, bigger, faster, stronger guys like Michigan. Heinrich has not pitched the ball one time since running the option.
And they're going to be ready for that.
Going to hit him hard.
Yeah.
He is going to get hit.
Well, they listen, and the thing too about that is they would have hit him hard even if you pitched the ball every time.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So that I don't think that's going to make a difference.
No, we have not seen Heinrich pitch the ball yet when running the option.
There's a lot of errors that can pop up.
Oh, with the option, you got to practice that shit.
Yes.
A lot. Rep it.
And that's where I'm wondering, is the playbook different for Heinrich Harburg? Do we've only ran the option with Heinrich Harburg?
Well, I mean, and you have to think too, he's been practicing the option since he's been at Nebraska. Scott Frost, former head coach Scott.
There it is.
My apologies.
Good boy.
Apology noted.
He ran it. So
not the spread and not this time. They were running more of a spread concept, zone read type option. This is like traditional for the most part without the old wing wing backs and all that stuff.
Wide backs.
Back.
Well, and if Sims is
so
still,
wide, you tear your shoulder.
I don't know. Sims is he doesn't seem to be that healthy. Like
no, you watch him run.
Dare I get a little funky here? We talk about Michigan's run D ranked 3rd in the nation right now, passing D ranked 12. Sims, while an okay passer, bad decision making.
Mm-hmm.
If Harburg, like Mike, you said, might be taking some big hits during this game. If Harburg gets hurt, do we look to Purdy first? Because Purdy is probably the better passer there.
I think
we
they
look at Purdy and try to
anyways.
take to the air and try and expose a little bit of that secondary?
From what we saw on Saturday, looking at Jeff Sims, even just walk on the sideline, the obvious limp and then him having to get on the field, not ready to go. Like Purdy didn't have his helmet, so Jeff Sims had to get out there. He wasn't even planning. Matt Rule was doing his, gamesmanship stuff, saying that both guys are practicing. No. Jeff Sims was not ready and was not planning on playing in that game.
He's like, oh shit.
So that tells me that high ankle sprain and just watching him move, he did not look like he's ready to go against the number 2 team in the country.
Dude, no.
No.
It just
So
we talk about the mental component. I just don't think it's there.
You think the progression is probably Harburg to Purdy? Is that what you're saying, Mike?
I think it will still probably be Jeff Sims.
Starting or second?
A second.
Okay.
I think Jeff Sims, just given the stage, would probably be the next guy up. But
and
another week to heal, maybe.
And just the fact that Rule has not mentioned Purdy's name at all. So I think Sims is going to be next up.
I do just real quick before we invite our guests on. The mental aspect from Heinrich Harburg to Jeff Sims, it is notable. Heinrich Harburg, you can tell, we just talked about this, that is a kid from Kearney who has been watching Nebraska football his whole life, and Jeff Sims is the transfer that was supposed to come in and start right away. I think, look at the leisurely pursuit of the fumble snaps, okay? That is a guy that there's not a whole lot of urgency.
There's a lack of urgency.
Yeah.
You're right.
Heinrich Harburg, he like I said, we did have a couple drop snaps on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
They were picked right up. Now, mind you, that could be part of the opponent. That could be whatever.
Right.
But he jumped right on it, and he's trying to make something out of it. There's definitely a different urgency between Heinrich Harburg and Jeff Sims. And I'll take the urgency over non-urgency any day of the week.
Whether Sims is starting or he comes in for that one play, I think the first word that comes to mind, lackadaisical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like whether that's fair or not, that's just when I'm watching the game on my telly, I'm just like, where's the There's no urgency.
I'll tell you, there was one word that came to my mind when Sims came onto that field, and it was shit. That was the only thought in my mind, was like, God damn it.
I said, oh, here comes Jeff Sims.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Jeffrey.
Yeah.
All right.
We've got one of our guys rolling in right now. Mr. Wooten is hopping on. We can probably add him to the stream now.
So just so our listeners and watchers know, we do have some Michigan people coming on to help us preview the Wolverines.
Let me fix this banner real quick, guys.
Yeah, fix that banner.
Let me just get rid of it.
Now, if you guys if you just Google Blueby90, that's NINETY, or the letter 9 or the number 90, you will find these guys. They have a pretty decent following.
Yeah.
They know their Michigan football.
Yeah.
Dude's wearing a Detroit Lions hat.
Yeah.
Hey, man. 2-1 Detroit Lions.
Listen.
Sam Laporta.
Embrace it, baby.
Jared Goff got me a dub this week. I appreciate him.
Hey, man. He does what he can.
Yeah.
Yes. We are joined by Tanner Wooten and Justin. I don't know your last name, I'll be honest.
Justin Rowe. We'll
Justin
take
Rowe.
That's an easy one.
I don't know. We were drinking with them in Ann Arbor, guys. These guys took care of us in Ann Arbor when we went down there on the road. Jared and I took a little trip. We got Tanner coming up Saturday to come let us return the favor.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing a lot.
Can I say you said that you went down to us and now Tanner's coming up.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, you guys are in Canada. I forgot.
He also said that we went down to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Like, he's just directionally challenged.
And you know what you say? You say you normally prefer back door, so I don't really care.
I said that one time. Said it one time.
I bet that's been on multiple episodes, though.
It has.
Anyways, yeah, we have the Blueby90 guys with us to help us preview the game on Saturday. We will be doing a live show from 10 to noon at our tailgate at the Bauer Underground in Lincoln, Nebraska. Nice. Looking forward to that. Tanner will be joining us for that. Justin,
yes.
What the heck's going on with that? You ain't going to make the trip down?
I wanted to. Unfortunately, have a wedding this weekend, which, I mean, you can't do. I know, fall weddings, but at least they're two Michigan grads. At least they did it on an away weekend. We'll take that as a consolation.
That's what you just send a card.
Yeah.
Listen, football weddings during the fall is legal in Canada, Mike.
Oh, I guess yeah. You guys
Apparently.
you're pretty north.
Yeah. That's true. Actually, if you want to know something, an interesting fact is that Canada is actually south of us as well.
It's true.
Yeah, because
if you go through Detroit, so you can go across the pond there a little bit, take the bridge over to Canada and itself.
Yeah, we love going through Detroit, don't we, fellas?
Yeah.
Hey, let's not turn this into a Detroit bashing power hour because Detroit's a great city.
Hey, there you go.
Come on.
Motor City.
I've heard great.
Come on, I lived in Omaha for 11 years. I could probably return the favor on that if we really want to get into it.
Oh, dude, you'll get
it. Hey,
we'll agree.
That's why they call it the Big Apple. Jesus.
Yeah, here we go. Oh boy.
Justin said, "Yeah, no, these guys suck."
Popped off the camera. That's okay.
I'm good. I'm back.
Well, okay. So Tanner and Justin, either one of you can start. I think the perception of Michigan around here is, they're pretty damn good. All right. I don't think any of us are going to expect a Nebraska win here. But the perception is like they got a really nice schedule to start off. What's your guys' assumption? Like, what's your perception of this Michigan team? What are you expecting out of this team? Is it a natty or bust? What are you thinking?
Tanner, you want to take it?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, the last 2 years have been awesome. I've had a great time. And look, if they have the exact same outcome as last year, I'm not going to be losing too much sleep. But this team, with how it's positioned, with Blake Corum as a senior, JJ McCarthy as a junior, the amount of talent and kind of sets up perfectly for them this year to really be that last dance almost. I mean, they're still going to be very good moving forward just with the way that they've recruited and have developed players. But you talk about kind of that one opportunity. Shout out Detroit, shout out M&M. Like, this is really that time for Michigan in 2023. Like, that's where I'm at with this team is, this is the year to do it. I mean, that schedule, like you said, it sets up pretty nicely. Doesn't make for the most fun experiences at the Big House when they're just kind of rolling everybody. I mean, it's a great time, but it's a lot more fun when those big games come around. And, I don't know. Justin and I have talked. Like, it feels like the season really doesn't start until the Penn State game. No offense to anybody else on the schedule, but like, they're just so loaded and they're not really going to be tested until November. So,
and I also want to jump in there too, because somebody's probably going to clip that, right, and be like, "Oh, bulletin board material for Nebraska and Indiana," and put every.
Yeah,
like,
you just made it personal.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just a guy too, so I don't know how much that weight that pulls, but
right. That's coming from us who are just loser podcasters and not the actual players. So, yeah, exactly. We can all, at least join hands in that. Yeah, to piggyback along with that, I mean, for sure, this is the best chance that Michigan has had to win a national title. What I will say is, like, for the natty or bust crowd, what does natty or bust mean for Michigan? It's not like if you don't win a natty, you're going to fire Jim Harbaugh. Like, I don't know. I don't really get that whole mantra. I get like the players are going for it. You're really pushing your chips all the way in. But it's not like it's like, where Ryan Day kind of feels like that's like beat Michigan or bust, as in like, if you don't beat Michigan, you might be fired, right? That's a different situation than natty or bust for Michigan. So like Tanner said, like, I don't know, man, I'm just I'm on the train of like, it's really hard to go 13-0 that like Michigan did throughout the Big Ten conference last year. And that is a flex. Like, legit,
it is.
Not many people have done that. Like, go through the list. The teams that have done that, it's like Michigan, Ohio State. That's it. Right. And so, I think that the expectations are high for sure. But you just like, if you all of a sudden are like, we suck if we don't just run through the Big Ten without a blip on the radar, then you're going to have a bad time as a football fan.
Yeah. Is there anything that Nebraska fans need to know about this team? So they're highly ranked in both defensive categories. I think we just said before you guys got on was they're third in rush defense and 12th in pass defense.
Yep.
Is there anything that is going to we have not seen that yet at Nebraska? I mean, we've played on the road against Minnesota, on the road against Colorado. Then we had some of our G5 opponents in the last 2 weeks. Is there anything that we have not seen yet and now we're about to see on Saturday?
Yeah, I think the talent level of the front seven from Michigan's end, and Michigan's without Mason Graham, who could be, I think, is one of the best defensive tackles in the country. He's got a hand. I think he's got something with his hand or a bone. It's something going on. He's going to be back within the next week or two, according to Jim Harbaugh. But Chris Jenkins, because he's mocking in the first round at the moment. He beefed up. He's been a guy that you guys have seen a couple times. He played in Lincoln in 2021, had a couple tackles for loss. Son of an NFL All-Pro defensive tackle, Chris Jenkins Sr., who played for the Panthers. And so you have a guy like Chris Jenkins. Kenneth Grant is a guy you guys probably didn't see a ton of last year. He's a true sophomore.
Maybe just the biggest human ever.
But also with stride for stride with Mike Sanderson on his pick six, throwing a block like at the 30-yard line. Just an incredible athlete. He wreaks a lot of havoc on the interior. The edges that Michigan has had, even I don't think there's one edge that's as good as even Mike Morris, let alone Aiden Hutchinson or David Ojabo on this team. But I think collectively there's four guys that are all really solid and consistent. Jalen Harrell has played a lot of good football. But the linebackers, you guys are very familiar with Ernest Hausman. He's been pretty solid for us this season. Haven't noticed any big bust. Junior Colson, preseason All-American, was a freshman All-American in 21. He's bulked up to about 245 pounds. Just the physicality that these guys bring to the table. They are, they're playing really bad competition at the moment on the first four games, but are just dominant, especially on the interior. So that's one of those tough things for Nebraska where I really do like the run game. I liked what I saw. My wife's a Nebraska grad, so we were watching the Nebraska Louisiana Tech game. I'm trying to flip to the really good games and keep her happy. The multi-view from YouTube TV comes in clutch, but I really liked what I saw from Anthony Grant. I know that you guys have a couple backs out, but it seems like it's kind of one of the positives for Nebraska this year has been running the ball, and the quarterbacks have looked good running the ball. But that front seven for Michigan, I think, is going to provide a lot of challenges.
Have you guys to this point, because like you just said, we're kind of hanging our hat on the quarterback run just because it creates that extra player that everybody has to worry about. Have you guys faced a true dual threat quarterback? I would even say we're a single threat quarterback just with our legs. But have you guys seen somebody that's really been able to run against Michigan?
Not really a ton, to be honest. I'll say this. It's, Michigan's front seven that Tanner was talking about. A lot of the time, even when anybody's tried to do read option against us, we've suffocated it. So we haven't really seen a guy get out in the open field and, see what they can do. So no, it's that could be something that poses a threat to Michigan's defense. But I will say our linebacking core is very, very athletic. And very they're senior guys, right? Mike Barrett's a sixth-year senior. And then Ernest Hausman, of course, coming in, and he's the youth guy. So yeah, I would say that there's a chance that gives us some issues early in the first half before they have a chance to figure it out, I guess.
Yeah, before all the spies start popping up.
Yeah. Sure. Would you say that that our rush offense is probably the only worry you have? Are you worried about running the ball on our number two defense in the country, rush defense in the country, or
number one?
Yeah.
Well, number one. Yes.
Yeah.
Are you worried?
Sure.
Yeah, that's the one worry I have going into this game, and especially the 3-3-5. Actually, Mike talked to your boy Brian today, and we talked for 30 minutes. We were just talking shop. We were talking ball, which is awesome. It's one of my really good friends. But I was reading a piece. We have for Michigan fans, there's a site called MGO Blog. You guys might want to check it out too, because they do a deep dive into the 3-3-5 and how your defensive coordinator, kind of the coaching tree that he comes from. And that's very similar to what TCU did to Michigan last year, where Donovan Edwards breaks a big run on the first play of the game. And then, it wasn't until they really incorporated McCarthy's legs in that third quarter where Michigan really started to put those points up, because that was a pretty close game by the end of it. But in the middle part of that game, Michigan really wasn't able to run the ball. So that's the one concern I do have. I like the big boy wearing number 0. I probably might have a dream this week about wearing number 0 as a defensive tackle, as a big dude. That's awesome. But I always see him making plays, getting a good push. But Michigan has the back-to-back Joe Moore award-winning offensive line. So, but they haven't been up to that standard so far this year, Justin. I don't know if you want to kind of talk on that. But the run game has been solid because Blake Corum is Blake Corum. But they've been rotating tackles. Like there's been 3 different guys playing left tackle and right tackle at this point, kind of rotating, which has been a little weird. So it seems like they're still trying to find the best 5, but that interior is pretty damn good with Zinter, Keegan, and then Drake Nugent, who's a transfer in from Stanford at center. So yeah, the tackles are kind of the thing that I'm a little, concerned about, if anything, on this team. They just really haven't gelled at this point in the season, but it's still pretty early. But this point last year, like Michigan was mauling dudes. So that's the only real concern that I have at this point with this team.
Okay. Yeah, I can jump in there too. I think that the concern would be that Michigan just hasn't gotten the push from the offensive line up to this point. Like Tanner said, in the first couple games last year, these guys are just shoving people around like they're rag dolls, right? And we haven't seen that quite yet. And I thought Rutgers actually had a really good defense, especially against the run, very underrated. So that was a good test. But, a concern that I would have is that there's a chance that possibly, for that first quarter, we may not be able to run the ball, and then you're forcing JJ to do it all himself. Now, the difference is we aren't going to have Hassan Haskins that's just, for 6 yards a pop every time you give him the ball and never a negative play. Which shout out Hassan. I didn't. I thought I had the Hassan shirt on. I have a Hassan Hurdle shirt, which, is mainly for Ohio State, but he may have done that against you guys as well.
He did. I was there, and I may have lost consciousness for like 3 seconds. I didn't know what was going on.
So let's just say Michigan isn't able to run the ball or move Nebraska's D line because of the polar bear in the middle. Do you have faith in JJ McCarthy? Do you have faith in Michigan's tight ends and wide receivers to go out and make a play if their game isn't working?
Do I have faith in the best quarterback in the Big Ten?
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I do.
That's kind of what I was getting at. Do you believe in JJ McCarthy?
I do for sure. I think that he has proven that he can make just about any throw on the field. Now, he's made mistakes. Obviously, we all watched that Bowling Green game, and it was not pretty by any means. And he would tell you that, right? But he even came out this week and was like, that was the best thing for me because I identified things that I was doing wrong, and now we can learn from them. He was like, if we go out and throw for 400 yards and 4 TDs, we probably don't learn a whole lot. So I think that, if you would have asked me this in week 4 last year, I'm probably not sure yet, right? I'm not totally sure. He's got the pro day combine type body. He can do all those things, but can he do it in a game? We weren't sure. Now, 15 games later, I'm pretty damn sure that he can make those throws. And, if the team needs to get on his back, he can do that for sure.
Okay. So a little caveat there. I'm looking at NCAA stats right now. Michigan's passing offense ranked number 69 in the country. Nice.
Nice.
So, there are, I think, some questions. Not that I'm saying Nebraska's secondary is, especially fantastic, but it lends some questions as to, can it happen? Let's see.
Yeah. If you look at it in a vacuum, right? You want to have some context. Michigan has, I think they may be dead last in plays per game. Like they are content with grinding it out. And this is what I told the boys at the tailgate last year before the game. They're like, oh, you guys are going to beat us by 60. And I'm like, no, because Jim Harbaugh is perfectly content getting out of there, grinding it out, getting a win and moving on. And that's just how he's been under as the head coach at Michigan. Like we're not here for them to put up huge stats, right? But if you look at the advanced statistics, Michigan has the number 1 net points per drive in the country, excluding garbage time, which that statistic shows, how many points the offense is putting up and how many points the defense is putting up. So they're playing, it's not opponent adjusted, but, it's a decent stat when you look at, you can look at the, 69th ranked total offense or passing offense, but, 10 minutes left in the third quarter, the first 2 games, they're pulling JJ and he's done. But he puts up 280 in those first 2 games, right? So it's, and against Rutgers, they threw it 21 times. He was 15 of 21, had a touchdown, had 200 and some odd yards, had 50 yards rushing. Like he's never like Michigan's never going to have the gaudy quarterback stats, right? Like they're never going to be that team that needs to put up 70 points to feel good about themselves so they can talk about how tough they are in a post-game press conference, taking shots at the goals. Like that's just not what this program's all about. Like it is a long game for Michigan. And that's been my thought all year. Like, people have, Michigan only won 30-3 against ECU. It's like, that's great, man. I don't like you're not winning the national championship in week 1 against ECU. You have to win 15 games. So that's where I'm at with it. And we've seen him make big plays and come up in big time games on the road. I mean, not many questions from number 9 for me.
You want to know what's crazy too is you brought up the stat of 69th ranked offense in the country, or passing offense in the country, and JJ's still on track to break the passing touchdowns record for Michigan in a single season this year.
What's he at right now?
He's at 8, I believe. I want to say 8. Yeah, and the record's only like 25.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. I was gonna say. I mean, Brian Greasy, I don't know if he holds.
It was Chad Henne as a freshman. He never got better. Yeah, he never threw more after his freshman year.
So I think Michigan exemplifies the Big Ten in that hard-nosed, run the ball through your face mask kind of offense. Like that's what they do.
That's the blueprint. That's the blueprint.
If a rule had his druthers, it would be the Harbaugh model.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And I'll say this too. I truly think that the running clock after first downs this year, Harbaugh loves that so much.
Oh, he does.
His whole goal is to just squeeze you until you have nothing left. And that's what he wants to do. I think it was against Rutgers this weekend in the third quarter. They took up the entire first half of that third quarter. It was like an 8-minute drive and then still settled for a field goal. And like that's but to him, I think obviously you want to punch it in, but he's like, there was 8 minutes there that the other team couldn't score. They didn't have the opportunity to score. And that's how they beat Ohio State in these past 2 years too. You're limiting the times that Ohio State has a chance to score because, we all know we've seen them score in 2 seconds, as soon as they get the ball in their hands. So that's been Jim Harbaugh's motto since he got here. In the past couple of years, when you really get that offensive line and the run game going, it works to perfection.
Yeah. And I mean, like we asked you, like, what is your concern leading into this game? And I'll tell you that my concern is just that our offense isn't going to do much against your defense. And then your offense is going to be on the field the entire game. And our defense literally any defense in the country can't withstand being on the field the entire game. It's just not how you win football games.
Well, and as good as Nebraska's defense has been, they just don't have the splash plays that can really turn a game around and like get a pick six or even a forced fumble.
Right.
That's just not something that this defense has done, even though it has been very good.
Hear me out. We got them right where we want them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We keep their offense on the field the entire game, and we tire them out, and then we're fine.
Oh yeah.
We got them right where we want them, boys.
Yeah. That sounds like a strategy from former head coach Scott. Yeah, I remember that guy.
What's that comment say?
Comment says Michigan's defense has also held every opponent to their fewest points so far this year. So, yeah, they're pretty good. They are pretty good.
Sure. They're also not through that many weeks. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, when people
if we were in like week 9 or week 10 and you gave me that stat, I'd be shitting myself.
I know, but like there's people that just like dive into stats way too much. Like Nebraska's number 2 or number 1 rush defense. Who cares right now? We played like a very small sample size.
And 2 group of 5 teams.
Yeah, and we played Colorado, who threw
take
the ball
care
a
of
lot.
business, baby. Take care of business.
I'm all for that too.
Hey,
but
we're happy about this.
Yes,
but like you don't lend a lot of weight to it in week 4.
Yeah,
week 5. Whatever.
Exactly. Stats can be for losers. Usually they tell a story, but
I got a question for you guys as well.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
What has to happen for Nebraska to pull this upset off on Saturday?
Jared?
Well, I think again, you're going to have some kind of miraculous splash play or two where it's like, whoa, Nebraska usually doesn't do that. Cool. And I think the rushing offense and Harburg and Grant, they need to get going. They need to keep Michigan off the field and just don't turn the ball over. If the turnover margin is 0-0, Michigan's going to win. If Nebraska wins the turnover margin, they might still lose, but it'll give them a better chance. But you have to win the turnover margin. I think that's the number one thing for me. Turnover margin.
Yeah. It's always going to be turnovers with those guys.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree. Don't lose the turnover battle. And, Harbor Grant, just again, like we said, with our worries about, Michigan's offense, keep Michigan's defense on that field. They are great, but keep them on that field as long as you can.
Yeah.
And just keep trying to run it through them. We talked about in the previous segment about how Harburg is not afraid to take hits, which is, concerning for our QB situation. But get them out there, stretch them out as much as you can, try and tire them out. I think that's the only way you get it done.
Time of possession will win this game.
Yeah. Well,
help.
If Nebraska is going to win this game, it's going to be on time of possession.
If time of possession wins this game, I'm very confident that Michigan's going to win this game.
I am too. I am too.
We are not doubting that Michigan will win the game on Saturday. If something happens though, and somehow, lightning strikes in the middle of Memorial Stadium, and we somehow win the game, I'm tearing down goalposts. I'm just telling you right now, I will be on ESPN.
As you should.
I am not saying we're going to get a repeat of 2 years ago, but 2 years ago, nobody expected us to be competitive in that game. We lost by 3.
Yeah.
Well, look, it was also current Iowa starting quarterback Cade McNamara leading the way and throwing a nice pick in his own giving you guys the ball in the red zone.
Yeah, I know that was cool. You talk to any Iowa fan, and that kid's a Heisman frontrunner.
Not anymore. Shutout in that ass whooping.
Did anybody remind him that offense is still so shitty?
Yeah.
That was the best clip. Please keep saying it's so shitty. I will. It is awful.
For sure.
You guys had 72 yards against Penn State. I mean,
gross.
Yeah.
Terrible. And Penn State, they're good.
Yeah.
As bad as Nebraska's offense has been, I'm not going to say shit. So
we don't have a ton of room to talk.
It is what it is.
So before we get into scoring predictions and all that, I do just want to ask you guys, because you guys are up in near Ann Arbor. You guys are listening. So is Harbaugh to the NFL still kind of a thing or not?
Oh, here we fucking go.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Can we at least wait till week 8 to start doing this, or does it have to be hard?
You in week 4, so we have to.
I know the Bears suck. I know they need a coach, and everyone I saw an article from Barstool Chicago this is already needing to happen. I mean, I don't think it's out of the question. I mean, to be very honest with you, I don't think it's out of the question because I think, you look at how everything's set up. There's a possibility that he loses just about everybody after this year. And then next year's schedule is an absolute gauntlet. So, if things go well for Michigan, he could definitely ride off into the sunset in some type of fashion. Let's say he beats Ohio State, wins another Big Ten title. And it's he takes Ryan Day's job right from under him. He, gets him fired. He, goes out 3-0 against Ohio State and 3 Big Ten titles, and then goes and takes the Bears, job and one more last shot at the NFL. I don't think it's super out of the question, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've had conversations. I think Justin and I both agree that if Michigan wins the national championship, he's probably done. I think he's probably sick of that. Look, I'm sure every fan base has this take about NIL, but Michigan doesn't really play that game. They don't do the pay for play, and they've lost on some really good recruits that they probably would have had if they would have put 6 figures up front. But that's not how they're going to operate. And I don't think he's an ultra competitive guy, right? If you don't know much about Jim Harbaugh, you know how big of a competitor he is, and not having it be a fair fight is probably something that just eats at him every single day. So going to the NFL where it's a truly fair fight. Now the Bears job, I don't know. He left the 49ers because of bad ownership. You talk about bad ownership with the Bears. I mean, might be the worst franchise in the NFL, maybe all professional sports with how they've treated, quarterbacks, coaches. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I think if an upper tier NFL head coaching job comes open, then yeah, maybe. I mean, hell, Sean Payton's getting $18 million a year to give up 70 points. So,
right.
I mean, anything can happen there. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, at this point, he's kind of earned it. So, if he goes out and wins another Big Ten championship and Sharon Moore takes over and hopefully the continuity with the program continues, then I'm going to be very happy.
Here's my hot take a little bit is Jim Harbaugh, if we go out winning and he rides off into the sunset in some fashion, him leaving after this year could be good for Michigan. Not because I don't want Jim Harbaugh here. I love Jim Harbaugh, and I think he's the best chance for us to win. But if he doesn't leave this year, Sharon Moore is probably taking a head coaching job somewhere else. And maybe Mike Hart's taking an OC job somewhere else, or whatever the situation. You're going to have some turnover. So this is just me just going tinfoil hat a little bit. But my conspiracy is totally Jim Harbaugh leaves. Then you give the Sharon the chance to take over with next to zero turnover in the staff, which is great for Michigan for the longevity in the future. Whereas you don't have to completely rebuild. You can kind of reload in that sense. So that's my spin on it.
You don't think Jim would take some of those guys with him to the NFL?
I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody does that.
In an imaginary world, he would never take any of those guys off his staff.
No.
Hey man, he loves Michigan too much. He would. I don't think he would. He would leave, but I don't think he would do that much. I mean, he was gonna take one guy when he was gonna take the Vikings job, and then that fell through. He was gonna take Matt Weiss, who was the offensive coordinator and got fired. So
interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting topic, but. If Michigan wins the national championship, I'm gonna be on cloud 9 forever. So can't take shit from me.
As you should.
Really quick, I want to describe what I have to assume is probably like your worst nightmare, and just see how you guys react.
Oh, perfect. That sounds like a really fun segment.
Yeah. So, but I do want to start with Michigan wins the national championship. So it starts nice.
Cloud 9.
Harbaugh does go to the NFL. Ryan Day obviously probably fired from Ohio State. Ryan Day becomes the head coach of Michigan.
Oh, no.
What do you think?
Lord, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no
What do you think?
No. I think Urban Meyer has a better chance of being the Michigan State head coach next year than that ever happening.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, so now I have to root for this guy that does just for men in his beard every morning when he wakes up.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey,
on their base.
We had 5 years of rooting for former head coach Scott. I think you can salvage rooting for Ryan Day.
All right.
It started off so well though. You guys had you had the really cool entrance, and then the lightning struck.
Yeah.
I said that earlier. Whoever said that earlier about lightning striking, that's all I could think about was that Akron. Was it Akron? Yeah. How excited everyone was, and then it got delayed and postponed and canceled.
We were there.
Yep. That was
started so well.
We decided that was an omen.
That tenure started very well with 5 wins.
I want to say how impressed I am by the quickness of the bleep button there.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
It's in our first rodeo, baby.
We need to up our game, dog.
Yeah.
You guys have a Roadcaster Pro. It's
okay. So
kick ass.
So we have a person that we bleep. Who's the person in Michigan football that you're bleeping?
It would be. Are you ready for it? It would
sir.
be Rich. There you go.
There it is.
Got it.
But I actually disagree. He gave us Denard Robinson. I would say. Well, I can't do it because you wouldn't know it, but John O'Korn would be my guy because he completely lost Michigan the Ohio State game when he played. It was brutal.
Yeah. John O'Korn with a K.
I'm sure he's a great kid. I'm sure he's a great dude, but
nice guy.
Yeah, just not great on the field.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into our score predictions for Saturday. We'll start with the Blue by 90 guys. What do you got?
Ooh. I think it's going to be another boring one, to be honest with you. I said it on our last podcast. We are so good at boring. We're so good at boring wins and boring games. So I think that it's going to be 31-10. Actually, I'm going to go 31-9 because we have to win. We have to be in the 30s and our opponent has to be in single digits. We got to keep that streak going.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little painful, but okay.
Wooten, what do you got?
I've been thinking about this, and I was pretty close last week on the Rutgers prediction that I gave. I'm going to say 38-6.
Damn.
I'm sorry, boys. This defense is just so good. Can Heinrich Harburg throw the ball downfield? How many times? Has he done it yet?
No,
we already saw Sims do it. That's where I'm thinking maybe a pick six comes into play. I don't know, man. It's I don't know. That's where I'm going.
We don't have a single deep connection other than the botched trick play that we ran
and scored on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Who wants to start over here?
All right, I'll go. I'm going to say Michigan 30. 4.
Damn it.
Nebraska 14.
34-14.
What is before we keep going? What is the spread? 20.
I thought it was 18.
18-5.
18? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Michigan covers for me.
We haven't have we covered yet?
No.
So,
No, the Rutgers game was a push.
This will be the week you do it. Congrats,
You'll
guys.
push.
Congrats.
I'll go next. I think 24-7.
24/7.
24-7. Very
that might
boring.
be it. That might be
Yeah,
it.
I could see that for sure.
Under 30. I think the
Yeah.
defense is a little better than the ones you've played, but I don't think our offense will do anything. We might have like one explosive play where you miss a tackle and Harburg scores or something.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Okay.
Option football.
I'm predicting a 27-10 Michigan win.
27-10.
Yep.
Double digits.
Yep.
Wow.
All
Don't
right.
say
That's two.
Wow.
You know, that's two.
oh,
Scores,
come on,
right?
come on.
That means you have to get into.
Yeah.
scoring
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm aware of
position.
that. Yeah. Right.
So
Oh shit! Here we go.
through every game so far this season, I have missed my scoring predictions through all games combined 10 points combined.
It's not bad.
But this is the one that I put the most research into
Oh,
because I was
boy.
very excited about this. So the best defense that Michigan has played was Rutgers at 41st in the nation. Nebraska ranked 23rd. Nebraska's offense ranked higher than all of the schools that Michigan has played so far.
Sure.
So,
Okay. Oh,
with
boy.
that being said,
Where's he going with
Oh
this?
no.
with that being
He's gonna
said,
say something really stupid, isn't he?
no, I'm not. I have it as Michigan 28, Nebraska 17.
Well, I was expecting you to be like Nebraska.
Nebraska ain't winning this game.
No.
Nebraska ain't winning this game, but Michigan against, and I actually have the numbers up on my phone.
Numbers don't mean
Their
dick.
first game, they played Eastern Michigan, put up 30 points,
Nerd.
East Carolina.
111 ranking.
Nerd.
East Carolina. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, East Carolina. It says Eastern Michigan on my screen for some reason. East Carolina, 111 total defense. UNLV, 101st. Bowling Green, 62nd. Rutgers, 41st. The highest amount of points they've scored is 35 against the 101st best defense in the country.
Baby.
So, with a that's ranked at 23, I don't see this offense going above 30. They will beat us, but it will be held lower than any of their previous games.
I said 24, but I also didn't say we were going to score more than 7. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's all reasonable, guys.
Yeah.
Even your
Is
28-17 isn't nuts.
Is that a moral victory then, or what is it? If
No.
you keep
No,
us
there's
below
no such thing as
30,
a moral
is that
No, there's no
Not
such thing
yet.
as a moral victory.
No, they're
Dude,
beyond.
we're just trying to
I-
get to 6.
Yeah, they're
We're trying to
beyond
get to
moral
6.
victories. Like
We're trying to
like
get to
I'm in
6
so many
wins.
group chats with. I mean, you boys, you guys all know Dusty, right? I'm in group chats
Yeah,
with
oh,
all my
yeah.
boys, and
Double down Dusty.
he'll just text me some outlandish shit, and he's just like, I'm just so sick of Nebraska. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man, because we went through it though, Justin. We were there for the Rich Rod and Brady Hoke eras, so
For
we
sure.
get it.
We have
but,
been there. It's actually, unfortunately, the issue is like, and please don't take offense to this, but it's not very fun to
Oh,
like
you're
go
doing
back
great.
and
I'm already
forth with
offended.
you guys. It's not very fun to like give you shit because they're like, you guys are just so defeated after how many like you've just been drilled in the chest like so many times. Like,
Well,
what
Justin, do you want to
Close
do you want
losses,
to bully
baby.
a Make-A-Wish kid?
Yeah.
Like, is it worth it?
So, Justin, the way you reacted when I asked the Harbaugh question was kind of like how I reacted when you asked the moral victory question. Like, oh, geez, like, seriously? Aren't we past this shit? Yeah. I mean, I have been for a long time, but yeah, no more moral. Come on.
But do you feel?
Baby.
No, I know you want to win, but like new coach, new system, in the era of the transfer portal, like I don't know your ins and outs of the transfer portal and how you utilize it, but like, I'm sure you had some guys leave. And do you not feel like, okay, if you see signs of progress, does it not do anything for you? Or are you still just like, fuck it, I need to get to a bowl?
Well, okay, so you talk about like progress, right? And the only thing that we asked for this year under an adult in the room is the turnovers need to stop and these stupid penalties need to stop. And so far,
It has not happened.
It has not happened. So
No.
they're really.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that stench still, I would say, probably.
Yeah.
There's
There's
a
a lot
like Rule? Do you like Rule?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's an
I
adult.
like Rule.
Yeah.
I
he's
think
an
Rule's
adult.
a great coach. He seems like a good dude. Like he's got it. I think he could in 2-3 years have that program going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Low-key, I think they could compete for the West this year, dude. If they didn't lose in Minnesota, I'd be saying they could win the West. Like, I still think the West, like, I think Nebraska is going to continue to get better. And this is, I don't necessarily think this is a trap game for Michigan, like, because there's no surrounding games, right? Like, it's just kind of, the schedule is what it is. But this is one of those games where it's like, I think they're going to put up a fight and they're going to play their asses off. And Michigan's going to have to be pretty good to make sure that it, isn't super close. But I look at that schedule. I certainly the defense played well enough to keep them in that Colorado game, and the defense played their ass off against Minnesota, and the 4 turnovers killed you. So, I think this is a team that still, I look at the West, I don't see any clear-cut favorite. I think they could finish, second or third in the West potentially and get to 6-6.
I also have a question for you guys. So, after the Colorado game, you obviously saw Colorado then go 3-0. So you're riding that wave a little bit. You're like, oh, at least we lost to a good team. They're 3-0.
No, fuck no. We ain't around.
And then they just get their ass kicked.
These guys are true, nihilists. Is that what the term would be? Like, you guys are just fuck all that noise. Like, I don't want any.
We're the chasers to the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
We're the chasers to the Kool-Aid.
No, yeah.
Well,
this
fuck that.
And that,
Dude, I like to bring this up because a couple years ago when Michigan came to Lincoln, what was the final score? 32-29, close game. What did it all mean?
nothing.
What did that mean? Scott Frost had the program on the right path because he kept it close. Sorry, Scott.
there it is.
Oh, they kept it close, so that means progress. No,
for that too.
What's that?
I just gave him a compliment for the bleep button.
He said it too
I know.
fast.
Yeah, he was.
We
I was rolling.
There's a
There
trick.
really have you guys have you explored doing some medical research on your brains through the last couple seasons?
No, we love pain.
I do
Embrace the
think
pain.
that there needs to be the number of times that you were pulled into it just to get your heart broken once again. There needs to be some studies done on you guys.
Well,
Throw
There's
me
a
in the
turn
full
point.
ring. Look at my hat. Throw me in that
That's
research as well.
That's fact.
There's a term for it. It's post-traumatic SCRS disorder.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that a lot.
One request we have for the Blue by 90 guys is we want to make sure you guys bring us some of that beer down to the tailgate this Saturday. So Tanner,
Yes.
make sure you guys bring us that beer because
Oh shit, they got their own beer.
Yeah.
yeah, their own beer, and we have all the beer around us right now.
Yeah, we're
We
bringing
are
beer.
recording a
We
local.
have way too much fucking beer. We skipped out last Friday on getting the.
We didn't even have
Get the
to
pallet.
reload. Usually we reload every week. We didn't even have to because they were just giving us literally. I would roll up and me and Tanner would roll up in his truck and they just load a high-low and a pallet into the back of the truck with cases of beer.
I want that service. Look at this. We got pallets of beer all around us.
yeah.
Let's get a pallet to a tailgate.
Hey, they don't
This
like us.
guy, this guy texts me. I'm going to a work meeting and he texts me. He's like, "Hey, can you real quick tell me how many beers you have in your truck?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let me do the math." So each box, there's 4 6-packs in there. So in my cabin, in the cab of my truck, I go and I look. I'm like, all right, well that's 9. I'm not a math guy, but I know that's 200 and some. I go to the back. There's 10 or 11. I'm like, well, 20 times 24 is almost 500 cans. So I text him like, I almost got 500 cans of beer in this truck, dude. So we've got plenty. I don't know where we stand after the Rutgers game, but Justin and I have to get together before I leave for Nebraska. So I'll be sure to get some of that
Absolutely.
Game Day Ale and also the Hail IPA from North Peak Brewing. Shout out North Peak. They've really taken care of us. So, very similar local brewery, just like you guys got with Nebraska Brewing Company, which they have the best pumpkin ale of all time, in my opinion. Tell them to bring back the full, the tab.
there we go again.
Dude, I'm telling you, every time I talk to these guys, it's the best. So the pull tab would take the whole thing off the top of the beer, and I thought it made the beer taste better. Yeah, I thought it made the beer taste better
for sure.
It's funny. My family actually runs the brewery. But
can I get a word?
Yeah.
well, so they don't make the lids anymore. The company that made it, they own the patent, and they won't sell the patent. They won't sell the equipment, so we can't get them.
What a bunch of fucking nerds. Like, what?
Dude, that's what I said.
They're just they just took their ball and went home, dude. That's so unfortunate.
Yeah, the equipment is just sitting in a warehouse gathering dust. Bunch of nerds.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. It's not because we don't.
Patents run out. Patents run out eventually, so we'll.
I'm
see
waiting.
when that is free use.
Yeah. Well,
Awesome.
hell yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, look, Tanner Wooten, Justin Rowe from Blue90. Go give them a follow, guys. All our listeners, they treated us right in Ann Arbor. We're gonna treat them right when they come to Lincoln. We appreciate you guys coming on. We
Just me this time, though, boys.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, that's okay though. Yeah, we're
gonna get after it, fellas. I can't wait to see you guys. It's gonna be
That
great.
means he has to drink the same number of beers that I would drink as well on top of his own. So
yeah, perfect.
I've seen us load up the tailgate after we've had too many beers, and I don't want to experience double that.
Yeah. You're drinking for 2 this weekend.
We don't have to clean up or set up anything. We are at the Bauer Underground tailgate from 10 to 12. It's free drinks and free food the whole time we're there.
We'll be rolling through in the NBC truck too.
Double Down Dusty and Brian will be there. Like, it'll be a good time.
Oh, the boys.
Yeah.
So, guys.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you hopping on.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you, gentlemen.
Okay. Now, I don't think anything that they said was too insane. I don't know if there's anything like too, enlightening that I learned. Like, Michigan, they're going to try to run the ball. They're going to grind.
That's an identity.
Grind.
Yep.
Hardball. That's what he does. That's his identity.
Yeah.
And
he had it at Stanford. He had it in the NFL. Like that's his thing.
We learned that Michigan is good, and they're going to run it through our face mask.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody was shocked about that.
Yeah. Nebraska's going to have to do some things in this game on Saturday that they normally do not do if they want to win. And God, I hope they want to win.
Yeah, it's going to have to be, those teams that come out and the underdogs that beat, the upcoming possible national champion and all this other stuff. Like, it's going to have to be a perfect game. Like Cinderella is going to have to spread some dust over Memorial Stadium, and it's going to have to be some miracle. That's just what I'm thinking.
Nebraska, and I hate to steal this, Nebraska's going to have to run a tight ship as opposed to a tight shipwreck. Like, it is a different game.
How long has he been waiting to use that?
Yeah.
Like 25 seconds, actually.
There you go.
Okay.
Right up the top of the head.
Yeah. So, like Kyle said, it's going to have to be a perfect game if you want to compete with Michigan.
Yeah. I hope that the 12th man will play a factor in the game, because I don't think Michigan's going to go into any other hostile environments like that. I don't know if they play Penn State on the road.
I don't know. I will say this, though. When we went to Northern Illinois, listen,
on the road.
Even though it was a night game, I still was a little disappointed in the involvement in the 12th man. I'm just going to say that. I thought it was kind of weak, to be honest.
Do you think having the number 2 team in the country come to town, like, kind of helps that thing grow?
It will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The only thing that will be tough to match is in 2 years ago when that game was close. That was the most electric environment I've ever been a part of.
It was incredible.
But it was a night game. Those 2:30 games, they're not near as bad as an 11 a.m. game, but those 2:30 games are a little tricky.
Sure.
To get the fans ready to go, because those lights aren't turning on, guys.
Right.
They might turn on in the fourth quarter and halfway through there, but for the most part, it's daytime. So you got to find a way to create your own energy. The team has to do their part too, though, because I always hated that under the previous regime is like, oh, the fans show up. They showed up no matter what. No matter what the record was, they were there. They do their job. Don't ever knock the fans, because we show up.
This past game,
give them a reason.
This past game came out flat. Can't do that.
Cannot
do that against Michigan. You got to get the crowd involved early and often.
Yeah.
Can't come out complacent. And like versus La Tech, they did not really seem that ready to play. Can't do that this weekend.
And for the love of God, if whoever runs the music in Memorial Stadium ever plays Thank God Country Boy in the full form again, listen, I wanted to get on this spiel. I'm just going to throw it out there. After we went to Northern Illinois, this is going to be real quick. I know, Mike, we're getting ready to wrap up. Listen, Brandon Baker and the studs that are coming to visit Lincoln do not want to see a bunch of white people singing "Thank God I'm a Country Boy" in the stands the whole game. No. I don't care. You go to Colorado, they've got Lil Wayne on the sidelines. They've got all these celebrities. They've got
Wu-Tang Clan.
They've got swag, right? And they're out there, and that's if you want to turn that into an environment, you might want to start looking at Colorado. As much as I hate to say that, you have to have some sort of swag. And thank God I'm a country boy singing that. It's not going to work.
Colorado has done a great branding job. Again, don't love the program, but a great branding job. But imagine this game going into the fourth quarter is close, even somewhat. Sure. And we bring back Let Me Clear My Throat.
Already, though.
They did?
You weren't in the stadium
I
last week.
I was in Denver.
Yeah.
They did it already?
They already did. Going into the fourth quarter last week,
God
they played
damn
Let
it.
Me Clear My Throat.
Yep.
So for all of our listeners and people, we've had people reach out and ask us to see if we had any poll. Like, hey, is there any way you could make that happen?
No.
Guess what? We did. We made it happen, guys.
That was us.
No, it was all Matt Rule. He said in his presser last week that he would like that song.
Yeah.
And guess what? It was played. Did it help? I don't know. I can't say because there was a rain delay.
You guys were both at the game, correct?
No, Kyle wasn't at the game.
Okay,
Just me.
So what was the environment like going into
Season
that
tickets.
Season tickets. So that they didn't do the light show or anything.
Of course.
But
it's not built
I
for
do
that, at
think
least
if
yet.
you want to knock on the 2:30 games, you need to find a way to, I won't say match what they do at the night games, but you need to find a way to get the crowd going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Because it was boring. It was. Seriously. Like I didn't feel like I was in the fourth quarter, and that game was close.
Yeah.
Well, I think at the time it was a three-score game, but still, like, you need to get the crowd into the game going into that fourth quarter. If you want to be the toughest team in the fourth quarter, you need your 12th man to be, ready to roll.
Rock. Well, so again, and I'll make it short because I know we're getting ready to wrap up.
Is it going to be short, though?
Yes.
Okay.
If you would have kept the momentum
Country boy.
from where Let Me Clear My Throat was and never switched over to Thunderstruck, it would have been there. But you switched back and forth, and you got to rebuild it again. So I think it was just a mistake.
Identity.
Identity. All right, let's
Figure it out.
So hopefully Matt Rule will put in a good word and say, no more Thank God I'm a Country Boy, please.
No,
Get that shit
this week it
off.
was Dolly Parton. So no.
Jesus Christ.
No, if you're going to have a poll
You're right, Kyle.
in the stadium, give them options that still do not suck for the players on the field.
Yeah.
All the song choices were old time country songs.
In 3 words, figure it out.
Figure it out.
Because of course the Blue Hairs are going to pick Dolly Parton. Why the fuck wouldn't they? Why?
There's a lot of fucking blue hairs out there. All right. A lot of pissed off blue hairs telling us to sit down. Sit down. I'm trying to listen to my Dolly.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Go follow us. Everything that we are on, every social media thing that we are on, we have the same handle at NBNR Podcast. That is Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I think they got everything. Cool.
You did.
Yeah.
We are on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcasts. Wherever you listen to your podcast, we are there. Give us a 5-star review. Helps with the algorithm. We'd appreciate it very much. NBNRpodcast.com. We have merch. We have hats, polos.
Shout out Evans Custom Apparel.
Evans Custom Apparel. Shout out
B&B.
B&B Maids.
Maids of Omaha. Shout out Nebraska Garage Solutions.
Our cannoli boys.
And then, of course, shout out our friends at Norman Noli's for hooking us up with cannolis.
Norman Noli's cannolis. It's just so fun. to say.
It just rolls right off the tongue.
It really does.
Yeah.
All right, guys. What do you say we sign off?
Let's sign off.
I'm one of yours. Jared Hall.
Mike Delaware.
Kyle Byers.
And Connor Cavalack.
And as always, beat Michigan in GBR.